The champagne flute felt cool against my palm. I stood in the corner of the crowded room, watching my brother, Marcus, bask in the gold light of his promotion party. Everything was polished, expensive, and utterly predictable. The air was thick with the scent of ambition and old family money. I was the silent fixture, the necessary relative they tolerated. Marcus, slightly drunk and far too pleased with himself, clapped his hands for attention. He started making the rounds, introducing his new department heads, escalating the flattery until he reached me. He paused, a cruel glint in his eyes. And finally, he slurred, drawing out the introduction for dramatic effect. "I want you to meet my little sister." He laid a heavy, possessive hand on my shoulder. I didn't flinch. I just waited. I felt the collective gaze of the room, curious, expectant. "This is her, folks," he announced, his voice booming with false camaraderie. "No degree, no future, just freeloads off the family. My little burden." The laughter hit me in a wave, sharp, echoing. My parents, standing near the mantelpiece, chuckled, not nervously, but genuinely. They heard his words and found them true. They heard the dismissal and co-signed the humiliation. It wasn't just Marcus's betrayal, it was the final, definitive stamp from the entire family unit. My blood ran cold, but my hands remained steady. The years of quiet resentment, the calculated withdrawal, the plan I'd been executing in the dark, it was all confirmed. They didn't see me as a person. They saw an inconvenience, a punchline. I hadn't spent the last 5 years quietly studying, building, and executing a business from a borrowed laptop in a rented room miles away. They didn't know about the shell corporation, the patents, or the acquisition offer I had received the previous week that would make Marcus's promotion look like a child's allowance. They only saw the girl who still used their old address. I lowered the champagne flute slowly. The inner storm, the controlled rage, stabilized into one final strategic action. I looked directly at Marcus, then past him to my mother, whose amused smile vanished the moment she saw the strange, empty quality of my gaze. I raised my glass again, this time with perfect grace. "A toast," I announced, my voice clear and melodic, easily cutting through the remaining titter of laughter. Every head in the room turned. I met Marcus's eye, letting him see nothing but serene indifference. "Cheers," I said, my lips barely forming the words. "This is the last time any of you will see me." The glass made a soft, decisive clink as I set it down on the nearest table. The noise in the room died instantly. It was a vacuum of sound, the kind of silence that swallows light. Marcus's triumphant smirk dissolved into dumbfounded confusion. My parents' laughter was replaced by 2 fixed, horrified stares. They understood the implication, not of anger, but of absolute finality. I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I was executing an exit strategy. I turned my back on them. I didn't rush. I walked slowly, deliberately, past the stunned guests, past the expensive centerpieces, toward the front door. Every step was a psychological power move, a physical act of severing the connection. I saw the look on my father's face, not hurt, but the dawning of realization that he had just burned his last bridge to a potential asset. I paused at the door, feeling the collective, paralyzed focus of the entire room on my back. I didn't need to explain the patents or the valuation of my company. They would learn the truth later, when the legal documents arrived. The truth would find them. I opened the door and stepped out into the quiet night. The roar of the party, of their life, was instantly muted, detached. I had surgically removed myself. I took a deep breath of the cold, clean air. I was finally free of their assessment, their expectations, their laughter. The freeloader was gone. The future was finally mine alone.